Larson here at the Photo Booth with a three-part Dan in the Photo Booth. Part 1, we've got some recent acquisitions. Part 2, we're talking stuff from the P.O. Box. Part 3, we'll just stick around for Part 3. Up first, I don't know if I talked about Marvel Legends Dr. Doom at all here anyway. I definitely talked about him on Instagram. He's about as good a Doom as I could have hoped for. Absolutely gorgeous. Mine's got a little bit of a loose right elbow, but otherwise a gem. I will very likely see about getting a custom-made wire cape, even if it doesn't come with a hood. I'm totally okay with the way this hood looks. I prefer this head to the other head. I'm just really off plastic capes right now. It's not working for me. This one's really heavy, keeps him off balance. In fact, mine, he had some issue with his rockets here on the back. You can't see it in there. They're supposed to be rounded. They were a little flattened. I'm assuming they were, hot out of the factory, got put into the box, and the cape probably squished them a little bit, even though there's a peg on the back there. But whatever. Absolutely get this. If you haven't already, it is a must-have. Jumping all the way back to 2018, I finally saw an Admiral Piet, Tarkin, Veers, Thrawn, Krennic. I was able to get all of those around the time that they were released, but Piet escaped my grasp, and I never bothered to just order him online. I was at a store called Books A Million. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's just a store with books. And like a million other things. I was at that store a few days ago, and he was just sitting there with the Sith Troopers and Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's. If you have any of the other Imperial Commander figures, then you know that this is basically just that same figure again, but with a different head and same hat as Veers. Still, though, must have for me, probably an easy pass for most collectors. I'm gonna put its wings out. There we go. All right. This is McFarlane Toys Hellbat. There we go. I was committed to this thing as soon as the first pictures hit, and they didn't hit that long ago. Honestly, I didn't read the comics that he's from, that this suit is from, so I had no attachment to the story itself or the functionality of the suit in the books. Just the look of the thing as an action figure, it looked really cool, and it does not disappoint from a looks perspective. In person, it looks so good. A few technical issues with mine, at least. I saw that some people were having issues with the left hip. Either being very loose or completely disconnecting, which mine unfortunately also does. I don't even really want to move it because it's like really, really loose, and the whole joint just pops out. I thought it was breaking in some of the pictures I saw, but it was actually just some weak pegs and a weak attachment there. I'm not going to worry about exchanging it or anything, but I hope this kind of thing can get addressed as McFarlane continues their run of really impressive figures. Definitely looking for a cloth cape for this thing as well. It's And like the wings, I don't know. I like them. I'm glad they're there. They fold up kind of weird. Don't love it. Don't hate it. But I don't know. I'd like the option of taking off the wings and just draping a cape on this guy. Must have for Batman fans or anyone looking for a totally metal looking Batsuit. Easy pass probably for everybody else. Toybox Venom over here is just a honking chunk of plastic. Hang on. There we go. Just big, bulky, crazy, huge thing. Whoa! Almost had an error there. This one captures the same character for the most part from the actual Disney Infinity figure shown on the left with a little bit of dust. And I can't believe it costs the same as all the other figures in the line. It is huge, and I don't have any other figures in the line right here because poor preparation. But it does come with a variant Eddie Brock head with Eddie's face in his mouth there. I'm actually thinking about prying that face out because I'd love to have a giant gaping maw head without a tongue, just open, wide, painted, whatever, without that face in there. But it's really cool that it comes with that. And then it also has a gooey tentacle arm thing that can attach to his right arm. I've never been a fan of Tentacle Venom, and I know that's pretty much his character, but having been reading comics when Venom first came out, I don't know, the tentacle stuff is weird to me. I prefer him just as a giant, I like the symbiote suit and just sort of giant version of evil Spider-Man without all the goo and stuff. But it's a really great figure to display with your Spider-Ham. Even though it's not technically pork rind and you can't put pork rind's head on there. It's slick, it's shiny, it's big, it's got great posability. A little bit of the loose jointness, but, easy pass if you're, unless you're already into the toy box line, it's an easy pass. Or maybe if you have a Spider-Man or Venom focus, then it's a must-have. But for the most part, probably an easy pass for most collectors. Next up is Toybox Darth Maul, sticking with the Toybox line. I made one trip, got both figures at the Disney store. Look, I love this line. I love the look. I love the styling, the animated feel, all that stuff. I love the animated interpretations in general. But I feel like this one was a little bit of a miss. I do have the Infinity figure here as well. Pardon his single-bladed lightsaber. It did crack off, and I haven't glued it back on. I felt like the proportions were a little bit better. A little bit more even on the Infinity figure than they were over here. The Mike Mignola shoulders combined with the short legs make it look like it's like mismatched rather than part of that animated aesthetic. I mean, I like it. I bought it, but I am looking forward to the Hasbro Galaxy of Adventures Darth Maul due out later this year. And I know that sort of top heavy look. It's consistent for the line. I mean, Darth Vader's got the same sort of thing going on here. But I feel like Galaxy Adventures is doing a bit of that sort of animated thing with just slightly better, proportions. I like them both. I dig both of these interpretations. They're super different, but I'm digging them. This one, I don't know, Darth Maul, something's off about it. So this figure's probably an easy pass for most collectors. And into Chapter 2 of this photo booth episode, we're looking at some of the stuff that was sent in to the P.O. Box from viewers like you. Hey, speaking of Spider-Ham, check out the Instagram account, SoGrool, at SEWGROOL. SoGrool. This was a while back. I'm just trying to find my words here. A while back, SoGrool was looking for some action figure acquisition advice, and I was able to help her out. I was more than happy to do it for free, but getting something like this made it so much more worth it. I am absolutely going to be hanging it right next to my family portrait that I received last year from a different viewer. But this is just two amazing pieces. I have the comic book that this cover is from, and this is just an adorable, amazing interpretation. I don't know what this specific type of stitchwork is called. I'm amazed by the amount of detail in here. The web lines are perfect. That Spider-Ham, Spider Pig on the front is perfect. The nose is, it's just absolutely all the capture. The character is captured. The colors are right. It just looks so good. And I am pleased to be able to be putting together this little display, a little gallery of stitch art related to the show. And I can't say thank you to Lindsay enough. Thank you. It's awesome. Next up is Dan from Keene, New Hampshire. Oh, hang on. Every time. I promise you, not all collectors from New Hampshire are named Dan. He is at Cubicle Collector, just like it sounds. Cubicle like in a cubicle office, and collector like a collector, Cubicle Collector on Instagram. In his letter, he says that he was inspired by the channel to explore other lines outside of Transformers and has since landed on his new love, NECA Predators. He wanted to return the love by making sure that I had one of his favorites in my collection. This isn't his. He bought another one. There was two out there. He didn't break the rule, all right? So let that go. He wanted to return the love by making sure I had one of his favorites in my collection, the new NECA Laser Shot Predator. And I do have to say this thing is pretty cool. It comes with all kinds of bits here. This is like a extended firing thing. If you want to put like the harpoon out here on his harpoony rocket. He's got a hand, an alternate hand for his left hand there with articulated fingers, which, if that's your thing. He's got a different claw attachment. Are these articulated prongs? Oh, yep, they are. I don't want to break them off. I'm going to loosen those up before I try to bend them. Alternate left hand, Predator mask, and then this would be if you don't want this plastic shield, sort of energy shield generated, you put this one on instead in its place. Most important thing about this is that as Laser Shot Predator, he does have a light up laser eye, which is really incredibly cool. The only thing that could have made that cooler is if it actually also lit up the Terminator endoskeleton skull on his belt buckle there. That would have been pretty amazing if they could have figured out a way to do that. My only issue here with this thing on his head is that when you do put the mask on, it does automatically turn on that head piece as well. And I just can't get this thing to stay on anyway. Kind of like that. Oh, there it is. Anyway, I think he looks cooler with his mask off. So I'll probably be displaying him that way. Anyway, light up eye, clear shield, all kinds of bits. Thanks, Dan. This thing is aces. Next up is Scottish Santa Claus, aka, well, it's another Dan. He dropped off a few Christmas presents for me. An absolutely gorgeous, stunning Han Solo Icons art book by Gina McIntyre. Just flipping through it, I was seeing photos and pieces of art that I had never seen before. It's got all kinds of like reproduction, artifacts, collectibles, things that have been released in the past. Just a stunning, gorgeous presentation of all of these pieces, behind the scenes photographs, full page art, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I can't wait to sit down and, just actually spend some time with this. Santa also included a laser disc for producer Greg. Hopefully Greg will put up a picture of it. It's from a movie called There's Nothing Out There. I've never seen it. Greg has. But let me tell you this. Producer Greg doesn't get excited about much, but this piece had him genuinely surprised and genuinely grateful. He said it was on his list to get at some point, and then he had almost acquired it before in the past. To find it in this package was a shock in the best kind of way. So thank you again, Scottish Santa, from both of us. Chapter 3 of this video brings us to another leftover bit of holiday cheer and a pretty important milestone. For Christmas this year, Mrs. Toy Galaxy made me an advent calendar, a 3-foot-tall Christmas tree construct with 15 different compartments and 10 additional gift boxes placed at the base, more like Christmas presents. Each of the 25 things numbered and to be opened on the corresponding day of the month leading up to Christmas. It was filled with gift cards for places that I buy figures, snacks that I like to eat, fun stuff for our cats, and of course, December 1st was a Boba Fett figure. And that is the 500th Boba Fett figure in the Boba Sett, an incredible milestone that could not have been accomplished without her. She is just as much responsible for the existence of the Boba Sett as I am. We started it together, and honestly, she's probably purchased either herself or signed off on the purchase of at least half of them. She has understood it since day one. Even without any particular interest in the figure itself. She loved the idea of each figure representing someplace we went, a show, a flea market, an antique store, a person we met, the show, this show, fans like you who have contributed to it, fans like you who have supported the channel and watched it as the collection grew to what it is now. And, we will absolutely be doing a 500th figure, 500-piece Boba Sett edition video. Hang on, this stand isn't working. Here we go. There we go. Just like we rehearsed. Perfect. So definitely keep an eye out for that in the near future. So figure 500 was in there. As well as figures 501 through 512. So, yeah, that'll be coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. And, hey, thanks again to Mrs. Toy Galaxy. Thank you to Lindsay, she is so gruel, on Instagram, Scottish Santa Claus, Dan, and thank you for watching this and all of our videos. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Toy Galaxy. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Thanks. Later.